I mean, he doesn't fall much below 40, does he?
It boggles my mind.
He's got some. There's people who will
boggles my mind.
Don't seem to mind any of the personal stuff, any political views that go against every political view.
I've never seen anything like it, and it sort of disgusts me about how have we gotten to this point, and how could that many people look? I understand people that say, I don't want one of these crazy liberal Democrats. And hey, Trump is, the economy's good, and people are working. Some good
people on the court.
I like tax cuts. He put good people on the court, and he's trying. And hey, I don't like all the. We do have problems at the border, and we got to do more border. That all makes sense to talk about issues. But to not care. Than that. It's more than that. But to not care about all these other things and to turn a blind eye and say, I don't care if he lies. I don't care about all these issues. I don't care about, it's like, what do you mean you don't care?
You're going to give up America's leadership place in the world.
It doesn't matter if America
alienate all the allies.
Walk away from our allies.
Right.
It's okay. I mean,
right.
We're going to go hang out with, brutal dictators and say we love them and they're great. And it's okay. I mean, I don't care if he pays off porn stars, but so what? I mean, we're the Christian right, but it's okay. We'll just look the other way. What?
It's I got to tell you, I think either you're under the spell or you're not under the spell. I mean, people who.
But I like to. It's like, are you people? What's going on? It's like the emperor has no clothes.
Right.
I mean, I sort of go, he has no clothes.
Right. It's like, did you believe all that stuff you said before?
Yeah.
Right. It's the religious right folks. I mean, I never doubted their sincerity. Right. I might have thought they were extreme.
Yeah.
But I thought they meant it. Right.
Yeah, but it's okay. You're cool with the whole Stormy Daniels.
Right.
And you don't mind like lying.
Right. That stuff you said about Clinton, did you mean that?
The Billy Bush thing with the bus and grabbing them.
Right. Does
that doesn't bother you at all?
And I think the answer is no.
The whole, okay. No.
But it's very difficult to change a mind on that. I don't think you. I don't know.
I'm not sure. So here's what
tell me, because I have to say,
I don't
feel like I've changed many.
Well, look, I think it bothers me. It boggles my mind. I go, what is happening to America? How is this possible? But I also think it's not real and it's not permanent, and it could change.
It could be punctured.
The air could go out of it. So I think it's a mile wide and an inch deep, right? Look, when until there were 17 people in that primary, he was only getting like 20% of the vote.
Yeah.
It wasn't like 80%. It was like small, right? And then once it became clear, everybody started dropping out, and it was just he and Kasich and Cruz, and then he was getting 30%, right? It wasn't like a landslide groundswell. Mm-hmm. And then he barely squeaked by Hillary.
Right. A horrible candidate.
Who was the most horrible candidate in history.
Right.
And they were basically saying, well, we're going to hold our nose. They're both terrible. Flip a coin, right? Who's the lesser of the two evils? And so now you see these Republican. I mean, he has a 40, either high 30s approval rating or low 40s, depending on the polling. One of them was like 36, one was 39, one was 43, something like that. So 56 or so say they'll never vote for him. That's growing. The other one's shrinking. But the Republican primary voters, which is a different breed, it still says 80 because I think they say, I like the court picks. I don't want one of these crazy far left. Mm-hmm. I don't want socialists. We just have to, even though I'm willing to overlook some things because I don't want that. But if there were an alternative, and if they said, if you started if more stuff came out, and Republican leaders are going to start to say, we're all going to lose our seats, or the Republican voters go, this is too much for me, or he's going to lose the general, we better get off the sinking ship. Yeah. We bet it could all overnight turn. It could all disappear in a week, right? I don't know that it's going to,
right.
But it's possible. And more likely, it could be like this: if the bottom falls out, everybody's in. He's going to soften, in my opinion. He's not going anywhere up.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not happening.
It's hard to see any up.
There's no upside.
Right.
Never going up. It's very unlikely that he doesn't go down. Right? Mueller report, all this stuff in New York,
right.
Southern District. There continues to be more and more. I think it's some kind of narcissistic personality disorder, panic. He's stressed. He's almost like a caged animal with the walls closing in. It's getting more manic, right, by the day. The McCain stuff, the tweeting all night.
Mm-hmm.
He looks and sounds very stressed and panicked, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's scared, I think, lashing out, doing irrational, more irrational than normal, and it's the Mueller and the witch hunt and this and all this Cohen. It's the walls are closing in. I think he's going to continue to implode, and it could be just a continual letting out of the air, or it could be a complete,
mm-hmm.
explosion. I don't know, but I don't see it getting any better. That's why I've been saying, and I've been just sort of floating out there, going, yeah, I'm not going to just go out there to get 2%, but I'm willing to hang around here by the basket to catch a rebound in case the ball bounces. If the guy breaks his leg, I'm already come off the bench.
Yeah, no, you can think of 1,000 bad things that could happen, and almost no good things.
And nobody else is really planning that. It doesn't seem like. No. I mean, Kasich, he got to deal with CNN. He's like, yeah, I don't know. He's, Bill Wells not, and the other guys are like, I'm waiting until 2024. I'm not going against Trump. No one else is even.
No, there's no first
contemplating.
String, no, there's no first string opponent that And
so I think we're in a really unique position. I don't know if there's an opportunity, but if we're going to be ready for it. And Kristen told me, by the way, and I'm not sure if this is on the record for the book or not. We'll see. But today he admitted everything I just said was true. He said, you just don't know. He goes, it very well could, and you should, be
ready to
preparing
right.
for that potential, opportunity. Yeah, absolutely, you should. He's like, right now I'm telling you, my advice is, I as your friend, I don't think you should go out there and get your brains beat in, but it could change. I go, but that's exactly what I feel. Right. Yeah. I don't want to get my brains beat in either.
We're on the same page here.
I go, that's great advice. That's what I would give myself.
Right. Yeah. Now, to me, that sounds totally sensible.
It's logical. I'm not crazy.
And there's no big cost to it.
Right.
I mean, you could do that for the next, 6 months,
right?
Right?
Well, so what I said to him today, what I've said to anybody really, except maybe Russ, who we're going to have lunch with, who's more than like the media guy. He's like a general consultant. He's like the guru of our campaign. Really. About the off-ramp for July, it was like we could drag it out until the filing deadline for Iowa and New Hampshire is in December. I mean, legally, if we go, hey, let's wait and see, Trump might go to jail, it's one of his kids, he might not run. Right. You could file late at the end of the year. You could drag it out. Biden every 4 years says, I'm going to think it over with my family over Thanksgiving before I make a final decision. I mean, we could drag it out until fall, especially if we think it's good for a book. Or, I could have it, and that Russ's idea originally, he was like, if you wanted an off-ramp to say, switch gears while still being a voice, you say, I'm taking on this new responsibility, chairing the nation's governors. I'm going to be a voice. We're going to focus on these issues, but I've decided not to run. If it looks like he's not, if you're not going to do it, don't drag it out forever, but still stay visible. So we could either keep it alive till July or until November, or we launch, in May or June because he imploded, or you say, hey,
or at least there's
let's keep this going until
least,
September, October. We might be running, and it's not that hard really, because and Christie agreed with this too. Some of our inner circle was talking about this. Normally, you have to raise an enormous amount of money, right? Trump did it a different way because he had all this free earned media.
Right.
Because he was this crazy
but if
reality show.
But if it's you against them, they gotta cover you.
So here's the unique moment in time that has never happened before. There's no other Republican.
Right.
There's literally a feeding frenzy among the media.
Right. People hate Trump. Right.
Who hate Trump.
Right.
Hate him.
Right. You'll get puff piece.
And they are desperate for someone.
You want
to
a campaign?
run.
I want to fight.
They are begging me to run.
Right.
I mean, literally.
Right. No.
I have Chris Matthews and Chuck Todd
Right.
and every other, the guy from the Times, the guy from the Post. They're like,
gotta do this.
every one of them says, this is probably inappropriate. We probably should have said, well, please run. So, we'll give you all the airtime you want. We'll give you an hour-long town hall. We'll just give you free reign on Sunday morning. Chuck Todd says, whatever you want to talk about. So it's like, it could be like the CNN Larry Hogan channel. It could be like, it's like, more so than, like John Kasich, who everybody's tired of. They just put him on constantly bashing Trump because they just want somebody to.
Right.
They would just salivate over, let's beat up Trump now instead of waiting until next July, when we have a nominee.
No.
They're so tired of, we have 25 Democrats. No, let's go take out Trump. And then so you could get $100 million worth of free coverage on television.
What is it? There's a certain floor. You need to pay an airplane bill. There's a certain.
We can do that.
How much? What would it cost to do that?
I think Christie only spent I think he only spent like 20, 30 million to get to where he got, but he dropped out. He came in 5th place in New Hampshire. I know I can come in 2nd place at least. I think Christie got 7%. I think I can get to 30.
Yeah. But you can't. That's not that comparison isn't
but
really relevant. Because there's so many.
I'm teasing, but
in that case, you had to break out of a pack.
Right.
Your job isn't to break out of a pack.
My point is, I wouldn't have to run a year-long campaign toe-to-toe with Trump to actually win the primary. We could make a hell of a lot of noise, ruin his chances of election, and get a lot of visibility and mileage out of a book by just doing New Hampshire. New Hampshire has 1 million voters. That's like one of our large counties in Maryland. And it's all about retail politics, which I'm very good at. I'm like the best person at it. Not to sound immodest. I could shake every hand in New Hampshire,
get a selfie
with no money, and have millions and millions of dollars of free TV coverage with no commercials.
Right. And there must be people in that mix. The former chief of staff, what's his name, Sununu. There must be people in that mix who really don't like Trump.
Well, Sununu, even the current governor Sununu doesn't like him.
But you know what I mean? The people who are Republican, credible.
They just lost both houses of the legislature. All those former senators, they all want to run for something.
There must be some of them who are just like it doesn't even.
And we could raise money, by the way. There are a lot of anti-Trump. There are a couple of billionaires that we're setting up meetings with that are like, they hate Trump.
Right.
And they're like, we like what you're doing, we want to give you some money. And I raised $30-some million for my governor's race. So there's guys here that are like, hey.
And that was just right. That had no real national from their perspective.
But those guys, we could.
Right.
My point was, we could raise more than, say, Chris Christie or many of these other 17 guys raised.
Right.
Even if they don't believe I can beat Trump,
right.
I can raise enough to make them.
Just for the fun of the race.
I can have a plane and a bus, and I can, we can be up on the air in a couple of states and look like a real campaign. I can hire staff. It might not be a full blown national. I'm gonna go toe to toe with the entire Republican National Committee and Donald Trump, but it will look real. It's not gonna be Bill Weld.
Right. That doesn't cross whatever that threshold was. That doesn't cross it.
Right. The question is, does it make sense or not? And we don't know yet. Yeah. But either way, it might make a book.
Yeah, at 88%, it's pretty tough. At 60%, it's not unthinkable.
Well, so Christie said, well, if he gets down to 50, he's like a whole bunch of people. But
No, you don't want 50. You'd like 60, 65.
So Christie, you know him well enough. He tilts his head. He leaned back. He was like, "Now, 65, 60."
Oh, is that what he said?
He goes, "You should probably think about it." And that's only, 15 points away from where he is.
Right. And by the way,
so I think he is going to soften 15 points in the next few months.
By the way, that advice is coming from someone who's been Trump's friend.
His best friend for 17 years.
Right, his oldest politically closest, and frankly, one of his very few savvy political advisors is saying
and so that because I don't want to, even though we're all friends together, I don't want to betray his confidence.
No.
So don't talk that one. Because he and I sharing the breakfast. This was very inside, but it was heart to heart. Mm-hmm. Him saying, he was like, he stopped. He was like, he like closed his eyes for a second. He tilts his head. He goes, that could make a lot of sense. He said, now, I still don't know if you could win. I said to him, hear me out. I said, as long as I didn't get destroyed, mm-hmm. and it didn't ruin me, mm-hmm. I go, I think I could be a hero to a certain segment of the American people. I think I could make a difference in the mm-hmm. future of the party. Mm-hmm. And, I'm a term limited guy in a blue state. I go, right now you're doing pretty well from losing a race for president. I go, if there was something, there might be some winning by losing. Yeah. And he goes, oh, I think there could be quite a bit of upside in doing that. He goes, makes a lot of sense to me. He goes, yeah. He goes, I think a lot of people would get behind that too. There's a lot of people in the party that aren't happy. And he says, a lot of them. And I told him how several cabinet secretaries came up to me at the White House saying, thank you for what you're saying. I haven't told you that story yet. Mm-hmm. I was at the White House, I guess it's been a month now, almost. NGA dinner. Mm-hmm. I had, it was just the governors and some of the cabinet secretaries, the president, and 3 different members of the cabinet came up to me independently and said some variation of, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. One of them said, you don't know how much we appreciate the things that you're saying and the things that you're doing. And just know that a lot of us admire you and appreciate you for standing up and saying the things that we wish we could say. And it's good for the party and it's good for the country. And I'm like, I'm in the freaking White House, and you're in his cabinet.
Right. Not one of them, by the way, has the balls to do it.
No, they said we can't. And very similarly, I was at this alfalfa dinner head table, and I had, General Kelly and General Mattis like trashing the guy, and I had several other people coming up to me, like, hey, and I've got fellow governors going, man, keep doing it. They're kind of like, hey, I'll just hold your coat while you go get your ass kicked. But they sort of like, we think he's crazy. They're not saying this. Mm-hmm. I'm paraphrasing, but they're like, he's crazy, but we don't know what to do about it. But thank you for letting everybody know he's crazy. It's like Stockholm syndrome. It's like we're all hostages over here, but they're like we're blinking. Morse code. This is the hostage video.
Let me out.
Torture.
God.
Well, I don't know what time it is. Let's go get some lunch.
Yeah, sure.
We got roll.
Okay, guys.
We'll walk across the street.